learning how to milk cows and trade grains, hidden somewhere high up in Switzerland's tall mountains. Times were extremely hard for his family, but there was something in that scenery that always served him right: the family stable. He remembered how he would sleep on a bed of straw in the family shed to keep warm. His story is not the only one of its kind for Swiss locals. Too bad those stables seem to have been lost over the years. Or were they? In Swiss culture, these stables had specific purposes, and for a good reason. It helped people survive and even thrive during the changing seasons. Locals call these little wooden constructions Stadels. They were grain storage barns, and you'll see a lot of them even to this day in the alpine valleys of Switzerland. Unfortunately, these days, most of these quirky little barns are just nostalgic reminders of the past. Most owners of Stadels have neglected them for the past 30 to 40 years. Some Stadels were even left completely abandoned. To top it all off, local laws don't allow people to turn these buildings into something else, like coffee shops or even small hotels. Happily, some locals have come up with a very creative idea to save these buildings from ruin, moving them all together to areas where local legislation would allow them to make changes. It may seem unusual, but people in ancient times used to do this too. If the weather in the mountains became too harsh, they'd just pack up their small hut and move it where they could survive. These days, the huts are moved with the help of a helicopter. Each piece of wood is carefully packed and numbered. Even old nails are transported delicately to make sure the houses are still as authentic as possible. The most fascinating aspect of these wooden houses? They look completely unchanged from the outside. But once you get in, you'll be baffled. Some of these huts are equipped with everything you can need for the perfect vacation. Nice, comfy beds, fully functioning kitchens, and breathtaking views of the Swiss Alps. Yes, they'll cuddle you in your Stadel. We're not leaving Europe just yet. We're about to head over to Romania to visit some equally beautiful houses. Close to the center of Romania's capital city of Bucharest, there's an unusual outdoor museum. It's called the Village Museum, and it features a collection of old traditional houses from all over the country. These buildings were carefully transported from far and wide. They show different architectural designs from various regions. The outdoor museum even has an old windmill, which is totally authentic. During the summer months, various events take place here, like cooking classes that hope to teach people the secrets of traditional Romanian cooking. Scattered among these houses, there are more than 50,000 ancient traditional objects, like furniture, clothes, or kitchen utensils. Moving over to Croatia, where this forgotten hotel looks like it was built for a sci-fi movie scene. The Haloduvo Palace Hotel was built in 1971 on the island of Krk. Even its asymmetrical design is unique. It was a popular destination for actors and world leaders during its peak, but it fell into ruin after conflicts began in the region in the 1990s. It was completely shut down in 2001. But even though it's abandoned, visitors can still admire the hotel's futuristic design and modular shapes. The town of Uyuni in Bolivia is well known for its salt flats and red lakes. But it also features an unusual attraction: a cemetery of ancient trains. In the early 19th century, plans were made to grow the city's transportation network with new train tracks. Soon enough, the project was abandoned because of technical difficulties and conflicts with local communities. Trains were still used to transport materials to the Pacific coast, but when the minerals ran out in the 1940s, miners left, and their equipment was left to rust in the desert. Over time, the salty winds corroded the trains, creating the great train graveyard you can visit today. Poveglia Island is located less than a half a mile from the canals of Venice. You might think it's a beautiful location, but this abandoned site hides a dark history. It was used for everything from a quarantine zone for the diseased to storage space by Napoleon himself. In its last days, it was the site of an early 20th century mental institution, home to some tragic experiments. The asylum was eventually shut down, and these days it is illegal to visit Poveglia. If you're curious, though, it can still be seen from the nearby beaches of Lido. The Michigan Theater, once a luxurious movie palace, was built in 1926 in the exact location where Henry Ford's first workshop once stood. It was an impressive building. It had 7 stories and 4,000 seats and ended up costing a staggering $5 million. However, it closed its doors in 1967. That's because more and more people started going to smaller movie theaters. Not to mention, people started buying home TVs, which meant they were less interested in going to see a movie on the big screen. After that, the space was used for various purposes, until it was turned into a parking garage in the late 1970s. It might look kind of sad these days, but the theater's grand ceiling and decorated walls make it more appealing than your typical concrete parking space. Ponyhenge in Lincoln, Massachusetts is a mysterious collection of plastic ponies and rocking horses. All you have to do to see them is to travel to a local field about 14 miles west of Boston. No one knows for sure who started the collection or how it continues to grow, which only makes it weirder and more intriguing. One story says that the first horse was left there after it was used as a prop for a lemonade stand. Another speaks of the foreign plastic horse left in the field. This one supposedly was no longer needed for holiday displays, so its owners disposed of it. The startling project began somewhere in 2010, and ever since, it has gathered a lot of weird myths. Some people have even said that the ponies come to life at night. I seriously doubt it, but it does add to its mystery. Estonia's semi-emerged Rummu prison was built in the 1940s. Back in the day, it was filled with inmates who were forced to work in the nearby limestone quarry. Now, it's one of the creepiest underwater sites in the world. The prison was abandoned in 1991, and the quarry was soon filled with water. Today, Rummu Prison is a popular beach and scuba diving site, where visitors can explore the submerged buildings and mining equipment. The village of Kayaköy, located in southwest Turkey, used to be a vibrant community. During its glory days, it had a population of around 10,000 people who lived together peacefully, despite coming from different cultures. It began to lose popularity because of a local conflict that happened in the 1920s. An earthquake in 1957 only added to the decline of the village, making it a ghost town these days. There are still a couple of hundred homes to visit, if you're curious. Xochimilco is a World Heritage Site from Mexico City. It gained a reputation on the internet for its Isla de las Muñecas, which translates to the Island of the Dolls. Should you ever stroll along the beautiful canals of the area, you'll soon be creeped out by a startling discovery. The site is known for the hundreds of dolls and doll parts hanging from trees and even scattered in the grass. Sure, it may seem like a set from a horror movie, but this unusual location used to be the home of a man named Julian Santabarrera. He became obsessed with protecting the area from unwanted spirits, so he collected and displayed the dolls to ward them off. Still want to visit? You can hire a boat to see the island from the water, where you can view the ruined house and hanging creepy dolls. No thanks. That's it for today. So hey, if you pacified your curiosity, then give the video a like and share it with your friends. Or if you want more,